Welcome to the Saturday Morning Muse on October the 8th, 2022. I'm Andy Tempty. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about change management and also discuss philanthropy and constructive communication. So all of those things we're going to talk about together. This past weekend, my rock band, The Remainders, played at a local festival called Oktoberfest USA here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. The main point that I want to get across this morning is that we stand in support of the great works that the folks at Oktoberfest USA provide to our community every year, and it was the 61st annual festival here in La Crosse this weekend. If you're not from La Crosse, this story is absolutely applicable to you because in your community, you undoubtedly have volunteer organizations that are blending entertainment along with philanthropy and support for the community through volunteerism. And so there might be a festival. There are many different ways that this can happen in your region. So last weekend, the band played. We had a beautiful experience on stage. There were circles of symbiotic energy that were created between the band and the crowd that just feel like you're levitating, the whole crowd levitating off the stage. The power, the energy of the music is just phenomenal. I live for those moments, and I know that many people live for those moments in the musical acts that they follow. And last weekend was no exception for us. We're very thankful to the folks from Oktoberfest for having us. But this year's festival was not without its challenges. There was some necessary changes to how entry to the festival occurred through digital passes and wanding and all sorts of things that made getting into the fest grounds a bit more challenging this year than in previous years, where you could just have a button on and walk through the gates and then wander around. I'm in full support of the board of Oktoberfest for making these changes, because we have to, in 2022 and beyond, it is essential that crowd control, crowd management is top of mind for any festival around the world. There's just far too much risk, unfortunately, in our current environment to not do so. So I applaud the folks at Oktoberfest USA for making those changes. Now, what has occurred, unfortunately, have been some unconstructive stories and feedback that have been floating around on social media of individuals complaining about the experience, especially on the Friday morning when there were the most challenges of getting individuals into the fest. Computer systems were down, and things were a mess for a period of time. And so individuals, they've gone on to social media and created nasty posts about their experience without really thinking carefully about what Oktoberfest is. Oktoberfest is first and foremost a philanthropic organization that uses a massive party for the community of La Crosse as the primary tool to then give back to our community, both monetarily and through good physical works. And so my plea today for individuals who not just who've attended Oktoberfest in La Crosse, but really any philanthropic festival, is sit back and think before you write that nasty post about your experience at a festival like that. And the reason for that is, remember that the vast majority of individuals who are putting on these festivals are not being paid, and they are volunteers who are giving of themselves, the fabric of their being. They're giving of themselves back to the community. And it is very, very hurtful for a volunteer to hear such negative feedback. Festivals like Oktoberfest all around the country, they rely on that volunteer talent. Yes, there were challenges getting into the festival. Yes, there were customer service failures. But please, when you are writing, when you're thinking about writing that nastygram, just take a little bit of a pause, take a little bit of a half halt before doing so, and be a bit more constructive in your feedback. Instead of that nasty post, why don't you pick up the phone and have a conversation with the organizers of the festival to share with them your experience and how you believe things might be able to change for the better. The second plea that I have is for organizations like Oktoberfest to remember that everybody has a change management curve. Everybody deals with change differently. We all, as human beings, navigate through change at a different pace than everyone around us. And to assume that a change can be made and everybody's going to be happy with it the world doesn't work that way. So my advice to festival organizers everywhere is to ensure that you over-communicate every time there's a change, because that personal investment that you have in the festival that you are providing, there is just as powerful a personal connection on behalf of the community to the history of that festival, especially for one that has been around as long as Oktoberfest has in La Crosse. 61 years is a long time. And so there are many people that have memories from their childhood that they're holding on to. And so change is going to be difficult. And so whenever there's a change to process, procedure, flow, just you cannot over communicate that change enough to your consumers. And then finally, there's this balancing act that must be struck when philanthropic organizations are working directly with the community, and a recognition that customer service is still has to be top of mind, even though it is a philanthropic community support venture. So consumers, if they're paying money in return for a service, which is happening at Oktoberfest and festivals like it all around the country, that value for money calculation must be considered, and customer service is an essential part of that value for money computation in the minds of the consumers that are shelling out their hard-earned dollars to support your philanthropic venture. So customer service cannot be ignored and must be top of mind. Now, for the consumer of things like Oktoberfest, festivals around the world, and philanthropic ventures, I implore consumers of those ventures to have a bit more gratitude, a bit more patience, a bit more grace in terms of how you treat that interaction. It is similar to, but not exactly the same as a commercial transaction with a commercial business, where there is the strong expectation of a value for money transaction that is happening. So a bit more grace, a bit more patience, a bit more gratitude for the contributions that the volunteers are making to the community will help temper some of the anger that comes from navigating through your own personal change management curve. The last thing that I want to talk about today is to continue with that value for money conversation a little bit as it relates to live entertainment. Live entertainment is expensive to deliver. What it costs, what it takes behind the scenes to erect a stage, to put up a public address system, and all of the lights that make the experience of a concert happen. That is not cheap here in 2022. At Oktoberfest, it costs $20 for a 3-day pass. But every day of the festival, there were multiple bands on 3 different stages, and $20 to get in to experience that diversity, that variety of entertainment is an extraordinary value. But a lot of people looked at that $20 and said, wow, that is super expensive. Why is that so why is it so darn expensive to get into the Oktoberfest grounds? So I just implore consumers to think a bit more about all of the things that go into creating a festival like that. There are the performers, there are the backline personnel, the folks that are running the sound and lights. There's all the transportation logistics and the tents and all the volunteers and everything that it takes to put on an event like that. $20 is a bargain, especially when there's money left over to give back to the community. So again, what Oktoberfest USA and festivals like it all around the country are doing is quite extraordinary. Please, please support live music in your community. Please, please recognize that even if you're looking at local and regional acts, it is very, very expensive to put those shows on. I personally take a great deal of joy as the lead singer of the Remainders and the leader of that band to support productions like that and to give of ourselves the value that we hope we are creating for you is commensurate with the experience that you are deriving. But again, the cost of entertainment and the production of entertainment has risen a great deal. So to imagine that the price of the ticket of admission into a festival of your choice is, let me put it this way: if the festival ticket that you're going to, if the cost of that is low, somebody somewhere is subsidizing that because entertainment is very expensive today. So I know I'm rambling a bit. I'm musing. This is the Saturday Morning Muse. I really appreciate your time. Shoot me a note on LinkedIn. Find me on Facebook or go to andrewtempty.com. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening.